I was just looking online. Actually, this popped up on my feed a little earlier today. Lee, I don't know if you saw this, but we talked about, Micah Parsons holding out and stuff, Dallas Cowboys, and this was interesting. I don't even know if you saw this, but maybe you have. I'm being a Rams fan. Aaron Donald says he would consider coming out of retirement if the Rams land Micah Parsons. He said so. I don't know, man. I don't know what's the look. We don't know what's gonna happen there, but you know, I mean, for him to say that, I mean, is he serious or is he, I guess he's saying this isn't gonna happen, so I'm not gonna come out of retirement. But what if
Uh-huh.
he does? What if the Rams try to make a move for Micah if Dallas could get something in return? So I wanted to pose that to you, man. What's your thoughts on that?
You blindsided me with this one. Didn't see that one coming. Aaron Donald coming back. I think he was just kind of, tongue in cheek, right? Playing around. I don't see the Rams getting Michael Parsons. I think what it would take to get him, the amount of draft picks we'd have to give up. I think the Rams are in a position right now where they are really they're going to be focusing on the future of the quarterback position, and they are putting all of their resources, they're pooling all of that together to give them the best possible chance to get the guy that they want in next year's draft. Going for and trying to get Micah Parsons now, that's going to be counterproductive to that effort, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Would it be good to get Mike? Of course. That would be a really interesting thing to see. If we were to get him, and then helping. Oh God, help
With
Aaron.
Aaron Donald?
Yeah.
Shoot,
Look,
man, that'd be crazy.
I don't even want to. Look, I don't even want to think about this. I don't
Yeah,
want to think about that. It's not going to happen.
yeah,
I got to see it to believe it.
yeah.
And therefore, I don't want to put myself in that mindset. As a fan, is that something I would want to see actually take place? Yeah. Yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah, let's do it. Bring Aaron Donald back, get Micah Parsons, team him up. You got Jared Verse, you got
Oh
Braden
goodness,
Fisk,
that would be
uh,
ridiculous.
got, Young, Turner, those guys. That front seven would be something, a sight to
Be
behold.
scary.
So
Be
Yeah.
scary.
yeah, but not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Yeah, yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
But before we even get into that, I heard something else. So involving your Rams, they said that if with the Rams looking at a young quarterback, coming up, Matthew Stafford's back is bothering him, right? So he's been sitting out because his back, right?
Yep.
And so, I know y'all got who are y'all backups, right? I mean, I know you got
Jimmy G. We got
Jimmy
Jimmy,
G, yes, Jimmy G,
right?
Jimmy G,
Jimmy G's the backup, and then we got Stetson Bennett
and
as the third
Stetson,
string.
yes, yes. So check this out. Somebody posed out there, Shador Sanders. They said Shador Sanders might be a great fit for the Rams because he you could tell based off of this game that he's ready for it. And Matthew Stafford, hey, this may be he signed a what 2 year contract? Was it a
Two
2 year? 2 year. So this could be the last year for Matthew Stafford.
could
Who
be.
knows?
Could be.
He
Yeah.
he may or may not. But if you get Shador Sanders, that's in there. No pressure for him to start because you already know that Matt Stafford is the starter. Matt is going to be in there. He's going to go through the progressions and play. And then that gives Shador a year, this year, to really learn the offense, get up to speed, and then boom, there you go. I want to ask you that first, and Doc, I want to hear your take on that. But then let's start there, and then we could go into Shador.
Yeah, it was. I saw this. I actually saw it was Nick Wright. Nick Wright was the
Nick,
one that
yes, yes, yes.
came up with that scenario. So I did see that. Rams picking up Shador. I don't know if I'm at a point where I trust whatever Sean McVay and Les Snead do, right? If they think that Shador would be the right fit for McVay and his style, that offense, and it doesn't take a lot to get him. Like we're not giving up first round picks, second round picks, or even a third round pick. I mean, he was a fifth round pick,
Fifth round pick, yeah.
right? So it wouldn't make any sense from a value sense to give up a lot to get him. If they feel like he would be good for the club, good for the quarterback room, he did show in his first game, and we're going to get into this. He did show some poise. He showed some competent, a lot of competency, talent, everything that we kind of would have expected him to be before the draft. I had him ranked as like a second round pick, not a first, but a second round. Definitely not a fifth, right? But I had him as a second round tier guy. I wouldn't be opposed to it if they think he would be a good addition. Yeah, let's see
Yeah,
what happens.
yeah, yeah. Doc, what's your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I think with Shador's going to be a capable quarterback in the league, right? I think it really just depends on how the Rams see that entire football team coming together. Like, hey, if they're going to be really more defense first, offense score enough points to win, but not offense carrying the team, and they want to get Shador for a reasonable price, I think that makes sense. I think Shador is going to be a really good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be. He doesn't have that Matthew Stafford arm talent. Like there's some special abilities and special throws that Matthew Stafford can throw that most other quarterbacks in the league can't throw, and that's including Shador. And that's not a knock on Shador. It's just Matthew Stafford special. And so it's like, hey, whoever is going to be that new quarterback, unless that guy has some amazing arm talent, the offense is going to be different. It's going to have to be tweaked a little bit to compensate for their quarterback strengths and relative deficiencies. And so this really depends on how they see that going forward. But they're going to be in the market for a quarterback in the next year to 2 years. So you never know. There's a surplus of quarterbacks in Cleveland right now. So yeah.
Yeah. So let's go into Shador a little bit. So from what I saw, and I just looked at the highlights, and I looked at some of the game here and there, but majority highlights. Lee, I know you was looking at the game, but let's with Shador. Okay, he made some throws. I saw some pressure on him. Let me ask you this: was he playing against the number one defense, or this was a number two defense he was playing against, right? Okay,
These were the
and
coups.
it was their number ones offense, right?
No, no,
No.
no.
It was their number twos. Okay.
Yeah.
Number twos and threes. Gotcha. Okay. So given that, I saw, and I went back because Lee was telling me this while we were talking the last time. And I went back and I looked at a couple of the touchdowns that he had in those throws. He was threading them in there, man. He was, I mean, when you told me that, Lee, and then I went back and I looked at it, I was like, shoot. I'm like, and then it was another one where I think he rolled out the pocket. He had some pressure coming from the left, I think, and he rolled out to the right and he hit the receiver. Great catch, by the way, one hand catch, pull in. I mean, and then I saw him under center, turning his back to the defense, coming around, looking comfortable doing that. A lot of quarterbacks who coming in, can't really do that this early on, but man, he looked impressive. He looked poised. There was some errant throws here and there. You expect that, rookie first time, et cetera. You expect that. But overall, I think he really showed. He held himself. He had the poise. He knew a lot of pressure was on him because all these eyeballs on him and a lot of people expecting what is he going to do? What's going to happen? And I think he shined, man. I think he really, really shined.
Yeah, all things considered, man, like he's not your typical rookie, definitely not a typical fifth round rookie, right? He has a lot of eyes on him, like you just said, more so than most first round picks. Notice, we're not talking about Cam Ward. Cam Ward played too.
That's
He's
right.
he's the first overall pick.
Yes.
He played yesterday. He looked good,
Yeah.
but no one is talking about him, which it bothers me. But going back to Shador, with all of the eyes on him and the expectation and the expectation he put on himself, one would say unnecessarily so. But look, I mean, he's his father's kid. I mean, son. So that I think that comes with the territory of being, in that family. He handled that game like a pro, like a downright, like a true professional. As you said, very poised, went through all of his progressions, made the throws, threw with anticipation, had really, really good pocket presence, which is one thing that a lot of rookies struggle with when they're when they're playing their first couple of games, and he was accurate. So all of those things combined made for a really good showing. And yes, he playing these were just the twos and threes playing against each other. But like I said in the last podcast, you got other quarterbacks within the same scenario, and they did not look as impressive.
That's right.
So this is definitely something for him to build on. For I think it's a good showing for the Browns as well. The Browns would be crazy at this point
Yeah.
to get rid of.
Yeah.
You can never have too many good quarterbacks in your quarterback room. So I wouldn't see them trying to use him as trade bait or trying to flip him for anything at this juncture, because you don't have no one and you don't have a quarterback. Right. So, especially a long-term one at this point, they're not really sold on Deshaun Watson anymore, irregardless of the injury. Joe Flacco is 40. So right now you're looking at Dylan and Shador, and I would keep both of those quarterbacks going into next season until we see what happens with next year's draft.
Yeah. Yeah. Doc, what you think about Shador and his capabilities and possibilities moving forward?
So back in the day when Green Bay had Brett Favre, they kept on drafting quarterbacks every couple of years. To Levan's point, you could never have too many good quarterbacks, right? So at this point, he's not a bust. Like, he seems to be a capable quarterback, has the poise, has presence already. You can see it on film. So it's like, hey, if he's not the starter, you feel good that if he has to start, he should be able to handle himself, right? So like right then and there, it's like, hey. But secondly, we're talking about Cleveland, and we're talking about the Cleveland Browns in a positive way, like optimism and hope, right? And so for those reasons, they would be crazy to get rid of Shador Sanders, right? Because we're actually, people, like, there are eyes on Cleveland, and there's actual like optimism and hope and what's going to happen and anticipation. So no, I think the guy's going to be good. I think he dropped too far in the draft, right? But yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. It's one preseason game, but you at least know, like, hey, he proved himself. He did well, a couple touchdowns, right? Like, so the guy's start is a really positive start to his career.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I saw people in there. They were in North Carolina and Carolina Panthers, but I saw people in there with Shador Sanders jerseys on, and they was going crazy. So, like you say, even from a fan base standpoint, if you know what's right for your fan base and you have someone that is energizing your fan base,
right,
then you stick with it. Again, this is the Browns. But hopefully, they take heed and see what is happening and what's going on, and they take advantage of that. So yeah. So Lee, you had mentioned you had mentioned Cam Ward, and then I know Jackson Dart also had some time in there with the Giants, and he had I think he had a touchdown in the game. Nice pass, by the way, really good. I didn't check on Tennessee, and again, that is a topic that we're talking about here. Nobody talked about Cam Ward. So what's going on with Cam Ward? I mean, like, I know you say he looked good, but what's going on? How's it going?
Well, they had him limited snaps, of course, because he's the starter. He's going in. He's the guy. So they're going to minimize his time on the field during the preseason. They don't want him to get hurt, of course. But I think the first series, I think it was like a 3-and-out, and then he came back, and I think he led a 65-yard drive for a touchdown. He didn't throw a touchdown. I think it ended up being a touchdown run, but he led the drive. He looked good. He had full command of the offense, really good throws. He ended up being, I think it was 5 of 8 for 67 yards passing. Like I said, he looks, like when you see a guy and he's playing the position and it looks like it's coming to him naturally.
Yeah.
And then you see the other guys and they look like they're forcing it, like kind of like what Joe Milton looked like a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
So so Cam Ward looked really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, I would say the same thing with I looked at a couple of highlights with Jackson Dart. Kind of I was kind of like, okay, I wasn't
Now,
expecting that.
I did.
Okay,
I
yeah,
did because you forget Dable is the guy that coached up Josh Allen.
yeah,
He
yeah,
got Josh Allen to be Josh Allen. And I think what they saw in Jackson Dart from a skill set perspective are similar, the similarities in terms of skill of his athletic traits, his way he's throwing the ball, his football acumen. I think they saw similarities between him and Josh Allen. And the way he played in that game, it kind of reminded me of Josh.
yeah, yeah.
So I think they got their guy, and I think Dart, especially if they give him the ability to sit at least the first half of the season, he's going to be in good shape.
Take it over. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm speaking of another rookie, and I just saw this because I'm going through highlights in my mind, and I saw the rookie Miller. What's his name from Notre Dame? What's his
Miller,
name
Miller.
from Notre Dame?
Good position.
He's with Pittsburgh, quarterback. Man, let's see. Let's see if it was Pittsburgh. It's yeah,
Pittsburgh got
Will
the guy.
Howard. Will Howard.
Will
Yeah,
Howard.
yeah,
He's
Will
from
Howard
yeah,
from
he's not from Notre
Well, I
Dame.
say,
He's from Ohio
yeah,
State.
yeah.
Yeah, Ohio State.
He looked good. He looked good, man. Woo-wee. I was looking at him too, and he has that big body. He's big,
he's a big dude.
and
He's a big dude.
man, and look, when I saw him, I was like, "Whoa, he is looking good." I mean, he took off out the pocket running. He had the pocket presence. He was hitting receivers. I look, some of these, I know it's early, first preseason game, but these guys look really prepared, man. They look really prepared. These rookies that I've seen look really prepared for the league. I mean, again, everybody's vanilla. It's not, nobody's throwing no schemes, no, not being. But I mean, just for that, think about nerves alone when you out there. This is your first time, you're going to practice, but this is it. And Will Howard looked pretty good. He looked solid, man. I was pretty impressed by him too.
Will Howard, I think you sure Will Howard played? This was against yeah, I see.
Yeah.
This was against the Jaguars, right?
Jaguars, yes, yes.
Yeah. So when it comes to these rookies and the preseason, and by the way, I hate saying this. I
Say it.
like
Say it.
yeah.
Say it.
Just for context for those listening, like I'm a Michigan fan.
Yeah,
Doc is Ohio State, right? So like this thing carries over, man.
Yep.
Right? But
yeah,
I can't believe I'm saying this. But Will Howard is he's a good quarterback. He's a prototypical quarterback, one where you don't expect him to come in and get going right away. He's going to need time, but he has all of the tools. He has the snaps, which is equally as important. He has the experience from in college. He won a national championship, so he played under pressure. He's pretty accurate, big body, strong arm.
yeah,
I think he could definitely be a
Good
good
for Pittsburgh
quarterback.
weather. The strong arm. Good
Yes,
for Pittsburgh weather.
he's a Pittsburgh quarterback.
yeah,
He's a
yeah.
Pittsburgh guy. Like
Absolutely.
that inclement weather, durable, right? He looks like he would be a good fit if given the chance. And I think without really trying to kind of show their hand, that's probably what Pittsburgh is hoping for with Will. I really believe that's what they're hoping for. So good, good. I'm glad he had a good game. If anyone goes back to when we were talking about quarterbacks, we did bring him up.
Yeah, yeah,
We talked about him. We know he's going to be a very late round pick, but if you groom him right, that he could end up being a diamond in the rough.
And real quick, I don't want to undersell how impressive it is that these rookie quarterbacks are coming into these preseason games and playing. Not to throw someone under the bus per se, but Anthony Richardson, right? No,
No,
Yeah.
we get it. Yeah,
understand.
Yeah.
It's his third season,
Yeah,
right? First play, they go 5 receivers out, defense since rush. He doesn't see the blitz come in, the pressure come in, gets tackled, sack, and dislocates his finger, right? And they're like, people are talking about it like that wasn't a running back supposed to block for him. Like that's a basic install. Like offensive line did what they're supposed to do. Running back went out into the flat, hit the heart. You wouldn't even look in the right way, right? And so it's one thing if that was a rookie and you could be like, hey, welcome to the NFL, things going to get rough. But this is the third season, right? And you're still not making those adjustments, right? So for these guys to come in new to the team and having 8 and 10 and 12 play drives, commanding the offense, making the right decisions, not having bad plays, right, is pretty impressive.
Yeah, yeah. And look, behind Anthony Richardson, you got Daniel Jones. I mean, come on. I mean, it's oh man, they in trouble. They in trouble over there because, like you say, Doc, and we had talked about this before. But Anthony Richardson, come on, bro. I mean, you got to get with the program, and he is slated to be the starter. And if you are not already being able to pick these things up, I mean, you totally looking in the opposite direction from where the blitz is coming in. And like you said, Lee, on the last podcast, and we talked about the receiver was wide open. You had a couple of receivers over there wide open. So
Open.
yeah, and Doc, you make a good point with these rookies coming in and they seeing some of this stuff already and able to handle it. You can that just tells you these guys are very prepared, very well coached QBs. That these rookie guys that are in here now. So I think the NFL is going to be in good hands going forward. And then next draft, where you got even more quarterbacks coming out, it's going to be interesting to see how this all comes to fruition, man. Because these guys are solid. I was impressed. I was really impressed with that. But what I was not impressed with, Doc, what's going on with Jordan Addison, man? I mean, what, I mean, I know we talk about this. We talk about this. You're drinking, you're driving. The good thing about it, like we said ahead of time before the podcast, nobody was injured, right? So there was no deaths or anything like that. 3 game suspension. Doc, what's going on in Minnesota, man?
And for those who don't know, I think about July last year, he got arrested, charged with a DUI. He recently pled like no contest to a lesser charge. I think they call it like wet reckless driving. So, but it still acknowledges alcohol was in play. And so it's not as much of a punishment from the legal standpoint, but from, NFL perspective, personal conduct policy. So he's going to be suspended 3 games. I'm not sure they're going to appeal. I don't think they're going to appeal. I think they're just going to do the 3 game suspension.
Oh.
It's not making good choices, right? And at least back in the day, I was looking at back. They don't have it anymore. There was a time where you could like call a number on the NFLPA and they would like bring a car to take you wherever you wanted to go, no problems. Now with Uber and Lyft, it's like, hey, just call an Uber, call a Lyft, right? So
I mean, you got guys using the limos at strip clubs, so I mean, they
there
can't even do that
there you
no more.
go. As a business expense, right? A business write-off, right? But no, man, it's like yeah, we're all human, but especially in that circumstance where like you have financial means, right? There's a lot on the line if you don't make a good choice. Like try to make a good choice, right? And then on top of that, like thankfully he didn't get hurt. Thankfully no one else got hurt. That there wasn't, deaths or work, so yeah, but 3 game suspension. And to his credit, after the fact, to his credit, he's like, hey, this is what happened, and served whatever, and I'll make better choices in the future. So
Yeah, I mean, we don't want another Henry Riggs, right, type of situation going on, which was very unfortunate. But he had a history of something very similar to this. Another wide receiver back in the day, Justin Blackman. I know a lot of people don't really remember him, but he was a very talented wide receiver coming in. Jacksonville picked him up in the first round, had a lot of potential, but he had a drinking problem. And he was out of the league within like 3 years. So these guys, they got everything at their fingertips, man. And doing stuff like this, I'm amazed. Like, talk to Chris Carter. Just talk. The NFL should have some sort of program with Chris Carter leading it, because not only did he go through it and beat it, but he's very passionate about substance abuse and the battle of having to deal with it every day. Right? He's not beating it. He's still going through it every day. He has to wake up and intentionally not drink. It's a part of him. So these guys, like, there should be some sort of a program with players like him to kind of show them and share with them some of the pitfalls of some of these actions that they're taking, so that they don't do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's a recurring theme. It's And these guys, you start this from when you're in high school, right? And this just continues on through college years, and then you just continue on. And what happens with these guys is they just happen to get caught. They're the ones that got caught, right? Um, it's unfortunate when some of these. Luckily, like you say, Doc, nothing happened. He's able to do this. What I want to ask you, Doc, and we're gonna roll into the Vikings real quick, but what I want to ask you is how important is he to the team? Like with missing these 3 games, how important is he to the team?
He's very important to the offense. I mean, so one, you got this rookie quarterback, well, second year guy, but essentially a rookie, and you're trying to get some continuity on that offense. Two, he is a wonderful countermeasure to Justin Jefferson, because when Justin Jefferson was out, he was playing like a legit number one. So it is awesome to have 2 legitimate number ones at wide receiver and a great tight end and a great running game for your new starting quarterback. And so to not have him for three games, offense will probably, hopefully, be fine with Justin Jefferson and Hawkins and all the other guys I talked about. But there's going to be that lack of gel with everything going fully rolled until like week 4, week 5. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah,
But
and
it's
then
going to be a big loss.
think about this. Week 3, week 4. If you're not 3-1, you're not. If you going in there 0-3, I'm facing looking at going 0-4. Your season could be over. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You lose 4 games this early, you could be in a real true uphill battle, man. You got to pretty much almost win out. So that's but that's the point that I wanted to make, because it's so important for the small decisions that you make. Think about it. It don't only affect you or affect other people, but now this is affecting the whole team. JJ McCarthy is coming in. This is his first year coming in, that continuity like you're talking about, and now you got this receiver, one of your top receivers, out for 3 games. So, yeah.
At the Bears, against the Falcons,
Okay.
against the Bengals.
Woo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all should be all right.
No,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
we
Especially against the Bengals ain't got no defense.
Yeah, they don't have. Yeah,
Bengals
they
don't
don't
have
have no
no
defense. They don't
but,
have.
but our offense ain't gonna be maximum because we don't have Addison, right? And then the game where he comes back will be against the Steelers. So yeah, hope 2-1. Hopefully no worse than 1-2.
Who do you think you're going to lose to in that with those 3?
Hey, the Bears could always do something, man. They got a new regime over there. They
No.
got a new regime, and this is an in-division game. These in-division games always.
Well,
These division games always they tricky.
it's their first week though. I think they're going to have some hiccups that week 1. The Bears.
The Bears.
I think they're going to probably stumble a little bit out of the gate. Ben Johnson's offense is it's a lot to it, and so I think that the players are going to need some time to get acclimated and comfortable with the way he calls those games and all of the motions and screens and movements that they're going to have to take into account. So I think the Vikings could get that first game just off of the sheer fact of the Bears just not being all the way there just yet. The Falcons might be a tough one.
Yeah, that's
I
gonna be.
think that might be the one that might give you all a little bit of trouble.
Who's starting for the Falcons?
Penix.
Okay, I'm a little worried then.
Penix.
Yeah.
Penix start. He's the starter.
But honestly, of the 3 games, my worry is actually the Bengals game.
Okay.
And the reason why I think our defense still doesn't get the respect it should. And there's 2 types of offenses that defense has an issue with. One, teams that run the ball a lot. So all the trying to disguise the pass coverage it's a moot point because they're running the ball. So we're not in these 3rd and longs. And going against really talented quarterbacks, i.e. Rams and Matthew Stafford. And my worry is against the passing game of the Bengals, we're not going to be able to get to Joe Burrow. We're not going to confuse Joe Burrow like we can confuse most other quarterbacks in the league. I think we'll confuse Penix. I don't think we'll confuse Joe Burrow. So that's why I'm worried.
The absence of Addison, though, isn't a big contributor to your fears of losing that game.
The fact that our offense won't be as productive as it could be otherwise against them, where they lean on their offense, but their offense, I think, will have a good game against our defense because it's Joe Burrow. That's what has me worried. Our defense helps marries well with our offense. That our offense can put up some points, and our defense can get some turnovers and some stops. And even just like the three and outs, the 5 and outs, right? Just to not have the other team score points, then gives us favor on offense.
Okay.
But I think we're going to have a hard time with Joe Burrow getting them to not score points on most possessions. So
Yeah. So Doc, with all of that, JJ McCarthy, first preseason, he came in this game. I know we talked about earlier where he had a nice drive from going down preseason game. What are your thoughts, man? I mean, I know you didn't get to watch the entire game, but what are your thoughts on Vikings so far coming through camp and now, first preseason game?
it's difficult to talk about JJ McCarthy because JJ McCarthy went to that other school, right? And so yeah, so
You got to say it too.
turnabout's fair play, right? Turnabout's fair play, right? You're right. Won a national championship and everything, right? So yeah. No,
And
like
beat Ohio State on the way, by the way.
no, man. It's he's having some struggles in practice, but also making some good plays, right? And I think you see the talent's there, the ability's there. He seems hungry and humble, and those are two qualities I want in the quarterback, all right, for any team. And so he had a good drive. I think it's like 12 or 13 plays, right? And so it's like, hey, you're making the right play, you're making the right read, you're making the adjustments, you're executing how you're supposed to do. And I think that's just really good going forward that yeah, he seems to be able to fit the bill.
Yeah, that's good. That's positive. Look. I know you're looking forward to the season starting. So Levant, your Rams, man, y'all matched up against the Cowboys. Y'all always have tension and stuff going on. At camp and y'all practiced with them earlier last week. So what was your take on your game? I know you had mentioned Joe Milton from Cowboys. It didn't look good. But what's your take on your Rams, man?
Efficient. It was extremely efficient. Offense looked smooth. Stetson Bennett, this is his third season with us. And the way Sean McVay operates, because he's the third string quarterback, he takes basically all of the preseason snaps. Jimmy G doesn't see the field.
Ooh, okay.
Right. And for sure, Stafford's not going to touch the field. So Stetson, compared to the last two preseasons, he looked really good, had really good command, extremely accurate, showed some athleticism as well, making some plays with his legs. Had a couple, I think he had but it was, how did he throw that pick? It was a good throw. I think it just kind of, it hit the receiver, it went off the receiver's hands.
Gotcha.
In tight coverage.
Yeah.
But for the most part, also really good running game. So Blake Corum, Michigan guy, he had a really good showing as well. This is his second season with us. Last season it got cut short because he got hurt. But he showed a lot of elusiveness, quickness, toughness. He had three touchdowns in the red zone, which was a big pain point for us last season. We would get down to the 10 to 5 yard line, and we would end up with field goals. Yeah. So just showing, that showing that they showed, again, it's preseason, we understand that. But I was happy with the way the offense looked and how everybody looked like it's like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, man. That's I didn't know that McVay didn't put in. I mean, I know Matthew Stafford, but I didn't know he didn't put in the second string. Garoppolo. Mm-mm. So you pretty confident with Garoppolo. You think if something would have happened to Matt Stafford, you think Garoppolo could keep you rolling?
Yeah, keep him steady.
Okay.
Keep him safe for a game or two, right?
Yeah.
I think he could keep the ship sailing until Stafford comes back. If it's a long-term thing, I would be concerned.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I know Jimmy G had his ups and downs, but he's in the best place. Like you say, McVay, he works with quarterbacks and, he could really, for him to have Stetson Bennett looking legit, because I was not sold on Stetson Bennett. And for Stetson Bennett to be looking okay, like he could do some stuff. Yeah. That's impressive.
Well, it took 3 seasons now. Like it took some time. The first when I first saw him on the field, didn't look good. He was shaky. Errant throws. He looked like he didn't know what he was doing. So credit to the Rams for sticking with him and really coaching him up, getting him to a point where I feel, if I was to be frank, that he could push Jimmy for that number 2 spot.
Oh wow! Okay.
A lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's staying
I think
alive.
he could push him for the number 2 spot.
Okay. All right. Hmm. Yeah, that's
Because
interesting, man.
he has traits that Jimmy doesn't.
Yeah.
He can
Yeah.
make certain plays Jimmy can't make at this point.
You mind going into that some more? My thing with Garoppolo, right? I don't think he's an amazing quarterback, but he took a team to a Super Bowl, and he really hasn't been a bust anywhere he's been, right? So he's a steady quarterback. Like he is a solid quarterback. Like you say, couple games, yeah, you feel he'll keep the ship afloat. Now, Super Bowl aspirations, that's a whole other conversation. But to then be like, hey, Stetson can do some stuff that Jimmy can't. Like, you mind sharing a little bit about your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if it's 3rd and 5, we need to get that first down. You take the snap, going back, everybody's covered. If that defensive line is out of position, he can sprint to the side to get the first down. Right? Stetson can do that.
Yeah, I
Jimmy
got you.
he can't necessarily
Jimmy
do
can't.
that. So there's certain things, and I'm strictly talking about with his legs, that certain plays that he can make that Jimmy G is not. I don't feel comfortable with him making.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got you. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I coming out of Georgia, which I think is I hadn't seen, the only quarterback that I've seen come out of Georgia recently, I mean, not recently, but that has been good is Matthew Stafford.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't seen any other Georgia quarterbacks come out and do anything and look good. So kudos, man. Kudos to the staff for working with him to be able to be to the point where he could push the second string to a battle. So, that's so anyway, go ahead. What you saying?
You want to talk about the Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, so I was gonna say Joe Milton, I don't know what okay, I know he could have been nervous, but I saw some of the throws that he was making, and it just looked like he just wasn't. It didn't. I mean, the one receiver, I like it was like he was on the 10-yard line. Really, all he had to do was just drop it into my man. I think he bulleted that thing into dude. He couldn't even. I mean, it was just too hard. He couldn't even catch it. It was stuff like that was just not even adding up. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't nerves. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I was surprised because it's not like he didn't see any game time last year. I think he played the last game of the season for the Patriots last season, and he looked good.
Look good.
But for whatever reason, he looked out of sorts. I don't know if this is a sign of things to come. Because another thing with this preseason, again, we all know that these are the 2s and 3s that are playing. But if your 2s and 3s look like they know what they're doing, and the offense and defense is looking like it's running well, they're not making boneheaded penalties, that is an indication that the ones know what
You're doing too.
they're gonna do,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And right now with Dallas, Joe and those twos, they were out of whack. So Schottenheimer and then that crew, like I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned about what that offense is going to look like. We do know that there's a big difference now in terms of talent, especially for Dallas. They are top heavy. A lot of these other teams, Rams, Vikings, Eagles, we got a lot of like bullets in the chamber. We got guys on the 2s who could probably be one somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dallas doesn't have that. These guys are not even close to their 1s. So that could also be a part of this equation as well. But going back to Joe Milton, he reminded me a little bit of Colin Kaepernick his first season, where everything was a bullet, everything was a hard throw.
Yeah,
Guy
yeah,
was just a simple screen, and he's gunning it to the
Amazing.
guy,
Right.
and he can't handle it. We all know you got a strong arm. I think Joe Milton he has the strongest arm in the league, but he has to learn touch. He has to learn how to put a little bit of just a little subtlety on that ball so to make it more catchable.
Yeah. Do you think this is a testament of maybe the lack of quarterback coaching in Dallas? Because if he looked good and now, okay, hear me when I say this. He was in New England. He knew the offense, right? So, he knew how to operate the offense. He's been in the offense for a minute. But you move over to Dallas now, and like you said, it could be lack of talent or, the coaching. Can the coaching be a problem? Because, for a player to look comfortable and then you go, I mean, I understand, granted, don't get me wrong with the playbook and you got to learn it and that. However, you know how to drop back. You know how to, you know this, but it takes over and over, repetition, over and over and over and over and over. The coaching could just not be good in Dallas. That's what
It's a
I'm thinking.
possibility. Doc, you got something on
No,
that?
no. I mean, it's a possibility, but also understand that if he just in terms of the plays that were being called and the way the plays are being called, like some offenses it's 2 3 words and it's the whole scheme of the play, and some do the whole school Gruden where you got to say every single player and what they're supposed to do, and it's very verbose. And if you went from the scheme, banana Foster, and that's the play. And now you're doing your, X right, roll right, 736, Z slant, full back release, and you don't know what's going with that terminology. You're not going to look good in that first preseason game. Now, the issue, the secondary issue is understanding when you need to gun the ball and when you need to put finesse on the ball. You should have at least 3 types of throws. And if he's gunning everything, he hasn't realized yet when you got to put that finesse to make sure the running back or the slot can make the catch over a short distance and then go with the ball. So you're hurting the offense a whole different way, but you don't understand, and you don't have to gun the ball every single throw, right? So, and to Lincoln's point, is how much of that is Joe Milton and how much of that is the coaches not coaching that out of him?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I could tell you one quarterback who didn't have issues with overpassing, and that's Tanner McKee, man. Tanner McKee, backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles.
we can leave we're not talking about the Eagles, right?
You have to, man. You have to. You have to. Look, let me tell you, this kid, and I saw this last year when Jalen got hurt a little bit and he came in, right? This kid can start right now. He is impressive. Very, very impressive. He was making receivers, third string receivers who you don't even know. Yeah, these dudes, I didn't even know who they were. And he was making these dudes look like they were superstars, man. I'm telling you, Tanner McKee right now, if somebody, I would be surprised if there's not multiple teams calling Howie right now asking for Tanner McKee. I would not be surprised. But I think what's going to happen is he's gonna play out this year. He's going to be in. I think this is his. He's been in the league 3 years, so this is his third year. Good scouting effort by the Eagles to get him. But I think what's going to happen is, barring any major injuries where somebody wants to trade for him right now, he'll stay in there for this year, and then he'll stay a backup for this year, and then next year he'll probably get traded somewhere, and he could play somewhere, because I think there's a ton of teams that could use him, use somebody with his. He just has that presence. He knows how to move up in the pocket. Who he reminds me of? He reminds me of a Tom Brady. Right? Listen. I'm not.
Here we go
Hear
again.
me out. Hear me out. I'm not talking. I'm not. Hear me out here. Hear me out. I'm not talking about from a winning standpoint, etc. He could do that, but I'm talking about where how he moves in the pocket is so subtle, right? Tom, you would be coming at Tom, and Tom would just do a whoop, and you gone, right? And he would just take one step up and bap, and just delivering with ease and poise and just precision. That's what I see from Tanner McKee, man. I think he has the intangibles to be. And look, mark my words, man. Mark my words. You're gonna hear about Tanner McKee. This kid is going to be a superstar in the NFL at some point. I don't know. He's not going to be with the Eagles, but I give you that. But I have 100% confidence that if Jalen Hurts was to go down, Tanner McKee can continue the wave to take the Eagles straight back to the Super Bowl, man. That's how confident I am in him.
Thanks. You have no shame when it comes to your Eagles. You have no shame. I give up. I give up. Your fandom, like there's
No
no
limits.
logic.
No
logic.
limits.
You have no limits. You have no limits. Like I try to put I try to suppress, right? When I'm talking to you don't do it. Don't do it. You just compared Tanner McKee
The
to Tom
backup.
Brady.
The backup quarterback
Tom
here.
Brady.
The backup quarterback.
You say you see similarities, like he's Tom, like you see Tom Brady and this guy.
Listen. You got,
My team's so good, our backup quarterback like Tom Brady, but he's sitting on the bench.
But he's sitting on the bench. We don't need him. We
yeah,
don't
yeah.
need him, right? We don't need him. He's Tom Brady. He's the next Tom Brady, but he
Be
good.
good. Be good.
Oh, man,
Come on.
this is just like apples to apples. Really not right, but this is like
Really not. Really not.
really
Really
not
not.
right.
Really not.
But I just see the little things, the little intricacies of a quarterback that could be something in the league, man.
I could have seen a Don Marino comparison stepping
No, I
on
can even see
the
Joe
field.
Burrow. Like I can see
Oh,
like he
yeah,
had some
yeah,
Joe Burrow traits.
yeah.
Still
But
going straight to Tom
straight
Brady.
You got to go to the top, man. You got to go to the top. You got to go to the top. So yeah, I too, I was impressed with the Eagles. We went up against the number one defense for Cincinnati, which is not saying anything. It's Cincinnati, right? But however,
now Hendrickson.
no Hendrickson. So
Right.
he did really well. Did really well against them. I did see a sighting from
With team.
Cincinnati. My guy, man. My rookie. Demetrius Knight Jr.
Oh,
I did,
the
yeah,
linebacker. The
yeah. He
linebacker.
did
Yeah.
start. He's number 44. He did start. I did see him. I didn't see he had any tackles, and they only kept him in for I think the first two series. I think that he was in, but he was in on a couple plays, and was right there on a couple plays. Of course, when the Eagles got on the 3-yard line, we brought out the tush push with Tanner McKee and couldn't stop it. I saw Demetrius there, in the play, but of course you can't stop that. But I don't know, based off of what I saw, it looks like he's going to be a starter. He's slated to be a starter, and so that's impressive for him coming in as a rookie. Hopefully, he could do something on that defense, make some plays. I'm rooting for him.
Mm-hmm.
But they were getting torched. Their DBs, oh my gosh, they were getting torched, and it was not looking good for the defense. So hopefully, him as a linebacker, that they can he could try to shore up something and help them out. But they look like they're in trouble. And without Hendrickson, boy, they better sign that boy right now. Give
Yeah.
him his money, because ain't nothing happening over there in Cincinnati if you don't put him in there. So
No, yeah, they in deep trouble. Knight, he did get on the stat line. I think he had a tackle.
yeah, the
Yeah.
tackle. Okay.
Two total, one solo. Credit
Okay.
for one solo, and then I think 2 tackles total.
Okay, that's big. That's big.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's good. So yeah,
But the fact that they had him on just for limited time, that means they see him as a star.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because when I saw him, and then after the second series, when the Eagles was on offense, I didn't see him anymore. I say, okay, so he must be going to be a starter. Yeah, so that's good. That's good. Making a good impression, man. Coming in and playing. So one last thing I wanted to touch on real quick. I didn't notice. I just saw this on the NFL news feed. Billy Howton, the oldest living former NFL player and founding president of the NFLPA, who we've been talking about for a little bit here. He passed away at age 95. He was a standout receiver in the 1950s, and he was the first rookie to surpass 1,000 receiving yards, and later championed the players' rights through his career. Rest in peace to Billy Howton. I did not know that. That's just some history, to throw out there and share. But yeah, we got any updates on, what's going on Chicago, how they looking, anything like that. I know.
Yeah, they didn't start. They didn't play their starters.
Oh, they didn't play the
Which
stars. Okay, gotcha.
that surprised me because again, this is a brand new offense, and reading the reports coming out, even the starters were having some issues with adapting
Mm-hmm.
to the plays. So you figured that he would want to put him out there, but for whatever reason he didn't. Tyson Bagent, we talked about him the other podcast. He came out. He looks pretty good. He threw a pick, but the pick that was from a tip. Wasn't really his fault, but he looks good. The offense, yeah, they had a couple of stumbles, a couple of false starts. Some people not lined up, not lined up on the, in the right places and stuff like that. So you're seeing a little bit of like growing pains with the twos, but all in all, the defense looked pretty good for the Bears, and they were playing Miami.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so Miami, their backup quarterback, Tua played. He came out and bam, bam, caught the score touchdown, and it was out. They look okay. Zach Wilson is their backup quarterback.
Wilson.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
I forgot he was there.
Yeah.
Zach looks all right. He looks all
Okay.
right. I think that's a good spot for him. I think under McDaniels, I think McDaniels could really, if something happens to Tua, he should be able to kind of right the ship. I think he's been given a bad deal, right, with the team that he first landed with the Jets and that debacle there and going to the Broncos. I think Sean Payton got him right. Of course, he wasn't going to get on the field because Sean Payton got his guy. But with Miami, I think that's a good landing spot for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just that. Tua better stay healthy.
That's why it's
That's
a good
true.
landing spot.
Tua better stay healthy.
Yeah.
No, because with that McDaniel's offense, I'm just making it very apparent for people. But that McDaniel's offense and the speed at the skill positions, ideally you have a strong-armed quarterback that could stretch that field vertically, and that is not Tua's strength.
That offense actually plays more to Wilson's strength than
Yeah.
Tua.
Yeah.
Wilson can unlock that offense more so, I think, than Tua can.
Mm, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Speaking of that real quick before we wrap up, I did see, speaking of the Jets, I did see that Justin Fields,
hmm
again, played really well. They look
Yep.
good. They look
Yep.
good. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes did play and, went down, scored, to be expected. But Justin Fields looked really good. The Jets look good. I mean, they look good as a team. They look like they got some stuff. The defense looked good. I think they had a safety in the end zone. They Sauce Gardner, was playing legit. They they I, they look like they may have something under Aaron Glenn. And see what they're made of. I know he's a no nonsense guy. Him coming in. I was impressed with Justin Fields. So it looks like he's comfortable. It just looks like he looks like they're giving him the reins to be able to run, take off when you need to, do what you got to do, and play his kind of style. And that's what was impressive when I saw that. Him running, and he ran for a touchdown. I
Yep.
think it was like a 15-yard run or something like that, somewhere around there. But really impressive, and he used his arm. So that's going to be something to look at in New York with the Jets and seeing what they look like, seeing what Aaron Glenn could do, and turning that franchise around. And then you got Ben Johnson down there, both of them coming from Detroit, but Ben Johnson down there in Chicago. Let's see what these Detroit guys could do, after leaving Detroit. So yeah, but I just wanted to touch on that because I know Justin Fields look really good.
Yep. I'm equally curious to see what happens to Detroit after losing those guys.
True. Yeah. Yeah. That's gonna be. Hey, Doc, I know you're not worried about. I mean, that's right up your alley.
I wish those two new head coaches all the best. No, actually, no, not only one. Only one.
Only one, right?
Only one.
Only
The Jets
one.
one. The Jets one. Yeah. And hopefully it weakens Detroit, and it makes it a little bit easier for the Vikings to be kings of the North this season. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how it go. But
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
I'm keeping my eyes on both those teams.
Definitely.
There's Lions. So
Yep. All right. Okay. Well, hey, man, this was a good one. More preseason games coming up this week. I know a couple games coming up, so we'll catch up again and go through those.
All right.
sounds
All right.
good. All right.
All right. See y'all on the next one.